First, stray nukes land in... stray missiles land in Poland. And now this. Is it time for Armageddon out of here? Today on Mikhail Messenger. Welcome to Mikhail Messenger. It's great to be with you all today. And here we bring you the Bible-related news, prophecies, and mysteries. And we try to keep a hopeful and positive spirit in the midst of all the doom and gloom that surrounds us. And we thank you for those of you who help to keep our spirit positive by helping to support our channel. You know who you are, and our love goes out to you, and may the Lord bless you for it. And if you'd like to become a member and it helps support our channel, and you'd like to join us for our members-only chats, we do that every week. We also have 24/7 chat in our fellowship chat room where we talk about all kinds of different things, and you can join us there by becoming a member. You can also help us through the links in the description, and that does help us tremendously. So thank you so much for your support. So, stray NUKEs are finding their way around town, it seems. And here's the latest. Russia has fired a missile with a virtual NUKE warhead against Ukraine. Wow. It's the first use of the KH-55 from the NUKE arsenal, a simulated NUKE strike against Ukraine. Wow, that's pretty intense. So, it's moving past the just talk phase now. Daddy's bringing out the big guns, and they ain't playing no more. They actually got a giant missile that would normally have an NUKE warhead on the end of it, and now they're just practicing throwing it at Kyiv. Now, we know just a day or two ago we were reporting how, there was these stray missiles that landed in Poland, and we didn't know quite who they were from. Was it Russia? Was it Ukraine? Was it NATO? Was it, deep state, as they say? I mean, we don't really know. But we know that they want to get this war underway one way or the other, so somebody's going to provoke it and poke the dragon, so to speak. So this is the latest. All right, so a few hours ago, NATO and Ukrainian officials found themselves in front of a terrifying discovery as they located the wreckage of a Russian missile carrying a virtual NUKE warhead, NUKE combat unit simulator. Not exactly sure what that means. What I'm guessing what that is something where they can guide it just like they would an NUKE, but it just doesn't have the active warhead. I think that's what we're going to read here. It says the missile fell in the vicinity of Kyiv. So not only did they land one near Lviv, I think is the name, in Poland there, that just went right across the border. Again, we don't know exactly who landed that. Nobody wants to take responsibility. My guess is, Article 5 was in question, and I think Poland was counting the cost. Like, do we want to take it to that level yet? So my guess is, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Just a couple farmers. Poor farmers, of course. But I think they kind of want to scrape it under the rug because they don't want to get involved in this war. So they're not really looking to initiate that if they don't have to. But Russia, during this large-scale bombing yesterday morning on the 15th of the month, proceeded to simulate a NUKE strike against Ukraine. In fact, Russia fired the missile simply without the NUKE warhead. So basically, it was an NUKE missile. So you would not be wrong in saying so. It was just didn't have the warhead on it. So it was a practice NUKE. It is the first use of Russia's NUKE arsenal in the Ukrainian theater of operations, even for the requirements of a simulation. So this is their simulation, basically. According to the first information early on Tuesday morning, the Ukrainian armed forces shot down 2 cruise missiles. One of them was a KH-55 model developed to carry an NUKE payload. However, this particular missile did not contain any warhead. Instead, it contained a nuclear combat unit simulator, whatever that exactly is. Again, I would just guess it's probably everything but the warhead so that they can guide it and practice getting it onto their target. The shock is simply enormous, both in Ukraine and in the neighboring NATO countries, and maybe to see if it would pass by without getting shot down, if they could successfully get it by these guys. They did not use the KH-555 missile. This discovery raises some interesting questions. The first fact is that the Russian Federation did not use the conventional KH-555 ballistic missiles but the Kh-55, which is also armed with an Nuke warhead. The Russians removed the warhead and did not replace it with a conventional warhead. After the Nuke was removed, where is it now? So it seems like it was a true practice run. They didn't put a different warhead on there and just kind of, as long as we're launching a missile, we might as well blow something up. They didn't do that. They just did a total blank, shooting blanks here, and just lobbed one over just to see what would happen, I guess, and to kind of test it out and see how it's running. Meanwhile, the Kh-55 missiles are the ones that they normally use. That are loaded with non-Nuke explosives. Those are conventional missiles that they use all the time. Meanwhile, like the ones that landed in Poland. Meanwhile, the Kh-55 missile is the original model specifically designed to carry Nuke warheads. So this was not for any other purpose and would not be used for any other purpose. This is specifically for an Nuke drop. Simply put, the Kh-55 and Kh-555 use basically the same missile carrier, but with a different payload. Their heads are structurally different and can be recognized by experts relatively easily. And the Ukrainians conclude that either this missile was a dummy Nuke warhead, it was simply used as a somewhat less expensive decoy aimed at misleading Ukrainian air defense systems, or the Russians simulated an Nuke strike. And that's pretty significant. If that's what they're simulating, that's huge. It is an undisputable fact that the Russian army used one Kh-55 missile from its Nuke arsenal. So it is official, guys, that they did launch this. Now let's take a look at this video as they shoot it out of the sky. Woohoo, man. It's like fireworks you don't want to see, right? So they just shoot those puppies right out of the air. This keeps playing over and over again. I don't think anything new about that one. Okay, I think we get the idea of that. Videos of a Russian cruise missile that was shot down today. Ukraine said that Russia launched. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay. So I don't know if you can really see what's happening there too well, but basically it kind of launches across. I guess it's another shot. It looks like another shot of the same one that was shot down. Russia says, we discussed the NUK issue with the U.S. in Turkey. It is no coincidence that today we also had the first official admission from the Russian side about the talks with the USA. These were about the possible use of NUKE weapons. So they sat down to talk about it, like, hey, what do you say, guys? You want to take it up a notch? U.S. CIA Director William Burns and President Vladimir Putin, top spy, discussed, if he's a top spy, but we kind of know who he is, right? If they know this guy, well, not much of a spy, he didn't hide it very well. Discussed sensitive issues during their meeting this week in Turkey, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei said. Burns drew attention to Sergei Naryshkin, the head of Russia's SVR Foreign Intelligence Service, about the consequences of the possible use of NUKE weapons and the risks to strategic stability, according to the U.S. side. It was the first high-level direct U.S.-Russia contact to be known since Russia invaded Ukraine in February. Now, that's huge because, as you know, Russia wanted to sit down with the U.S. and they refused. They're like, no, we want a war. And Russia's like, can't we just sit down and talk about this? So Russia's like, fine, you want a war? We'll bring you one. Burns, a former U.S. ambassador to Russia, was sent to Moscow in late 2021 by Mr. B to draw attention to Putin about Moscow's troop buildup around Ukraine. The contact between Burns and Naryshkin, again, we know who the top spy is, not much of a spy, was initiated by the American side. The matters discussed there were of a sensitive nature. I can imagine. The dialogue continues, but it is not systematic in nature, but we are not standing with our hats in our hands. Americans need a dialogue with us just as much as we need one with them. Don't think we're giving in. You guys need to talk to us too. We win, you lose. According to information received from the head of the Turkish intelligence service, Russia and the United States discussed the non-use of NUKE weapons. Well, maybe the talks didn't go so well. Maybe that's why they're launching some practice ones out there. The use of NUKE weapons can lead to a new world order. Nah, you think? That's the whole plan, brother. We must rule out this risk. I'm sure that's what you want, said Mr. Erdogan, who is a contender for the throne, as you may know. Wow, so there's a little chunk of it there. And here's some schematics for you. So that's what's going on, guys, in the Ukraine. And I know a lot of us were looking for maybe Jesus to come back anytime soon right now. So maybe things are all lining up here. for a little escape hatch out of this place before it all goes to hell in a handbasket. In any case, it's great hanging out with you guys. I'm loving you. Let me just give you a little scripture, just to kind of end this out on a positive note. Check this out, guys. Psalm 64, okay? Hear me, my God, as I voice my complaint. Protect my life from the threat of the enemy. Yes, I mean, we got to pray for the people in Ukraine. We got to pray for people in Russia. We got to pray for people in Poland. We got to pray for the people in America. We got to pray for people in Australia and China, everywhere. I mean, everybody, guys, we're all involved. It's one big world. It's one big happy country of loving people everywhere. One big world, one big planet. So, but we got to pray, guys. And, so I thought about this. I'm like, we kind of need some encouragement, man. We need some psalms. We need some prayers to the Lord. And so that's what David's praying. He's like, hear me, my God, as I voice my complaint. Protect my life from the threat of the enemy, right? Because David felt that. We're feeling that now, right? The threat of the enemy. Guys, our battle's not against flesh and blood. Our battle's not against, somebody launching a missile into our backyard. That's not really who we're fighting against. We're fighting against the spiritual world, right? That's what we know from the Bible. It's not against flesh and blood. It's against the spiritual authorities in the heavenly realms, it says. The spirit of the air, the dark forces. And so that's what we're praying against, the threat of the enemy, guys. Hide me from the conspiracy of the wicked, from the plots of evildoers. Yes, please, Lord. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim cruel words like deadly arrows. They shoot from ambush at the innocent. They shoot suddenly without fear. Psalm 11 is another one that says they shoot from the shadows at the upright in heart. They encourage each other in evil plans. They talk about hiding their snares. They say, who will see it? Right? That's what they say, guys. That's why they keep doing the same evil, because they never are brought to task for it. They're never held accountable. So they're like, we get away with it again, right? Just like, who cares who runs for office, because we'll just fix it like they just did in these past times of mid of the terms. So they plot injustice and they say, we've devised a perfect plan. And obviously it's perfect for them because, another one's stopping them. Surely the human mind and heart are cunning. But, there's always a but, isn't there? But God will shoot them with his arrows. Woo-hoo! They will suddenly be struck down, yes. He will turn their own tongues against them and bring them to ruin. All who see them will shake their heads in scorn. All people will fear. They will proclaim the works of God and ponder what he has done. The righteous will rejoice in the Lord and take refuge in him. All the upright in heart will glory in him. Amen. Guys, loving you, wishing you all the best, all the blessed. And let's get close to God, so he can take us home. Maranatha.